Welcome back to another edition of the Carolina Golf Course Superintendents Association Member Profile. We've been on hiatus due to the pandemic, like many other things in our world, but we're excited to be back. We're looking forward to going across the Carolinas and profiling more of our superintendents. This week we're in Pawleys Island, South Carolina, and profiling Dan Saber, CGCS. He's superintendent at Litchfield Country Club and River Club. We hope you enjoy. Tell us a little bit about your start in agriculture, working on a dairy farm in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh wow, it was a great childhood. It was wonderful. Dairy cows lived right on the edge of town, had a farm, family farm. We had milked about 100 registered Holsteins, 400 acres. So it was a big legitimate farm. It was a full-fledged farm. It was a wonderful place to grow up. You could you knew all the maintenance, you knew how to drive the tractors, you knew how to drive everything by the time you were 10 or 12 years old. Love and appreciation of land and animals. I really like big animals. I like being around horses, I like being around cattle.
Yeah.
Still remember my grandpap. He was he was an entrepreneur. He was pretty well established and respected around town. And I still remember my grandpap picking up walnuts, picking up sticks. He said, you just don't run over stuff. Doing stuff right, and the appreciation of taking care of equipment, taking care of land, you know, something just as simple as picking up sticks. Really, it's ingrained in me.
Yep.
You know, that kind of maintenance and appreciation for stuff. I was the youngest of the grandkids, so the youngest of the grandkid got sat on the lawnmower. We had 5 or 6 acres of grass. So we had old Cub Cadets, old Cublo boys, and old Nationals. And I've spent hours sitting on an old National cutting grass around the farm.
Got out of high school and you were working on the dairy farm, you kind of realized that maybe that wasn't what you wanted to do for a living.
That was New Year's Day, '86. I woke up, I was out there milking cows, and I said, man, there's got to be something else besides this. So April Fool's Day was, I went to boot camp at the Coast Guard.
Yep.
1986.
And you love the water, you love boating, so is that kind of where that all got started?
That's exactly where that got started. I didn't want to do the Army, Marine Corps. I wanted to go on the water, so the Coast Guard was a natural fit.
Yep, and you've stayed on the water since then, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
We were talking earlier about how you've had a boat, you've had your high tide, 16 or 17 foot center console, since 2000, you said?
I bought it new in 2000 when we moved down here, yeah.
And already wore out one 4-stroke motor and you're on your second.
That's right, that's right. We spent a lot of time on the water.
Yep. How'd you get from the Coast Guard to kind of transition to get into the golf course business?
Well, when I was stationed in Cape May, New Jersey, I had a schedule that was basically 2 days on, 2 days off.
Okay.
And that allowed me to, which was great for a while, but then 2 days off is a lot of time off.
Yeah.
So back then I answered an ad in the newspaper, classified ads, which is how you did it then, golf course maintenance. So I went there and I answered the ad for Stone Harbor, which was in Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey, a Desmond Muirhead design. The superintendent was Kenny Thompson, Penn State grad. He's from Pennsylvania. Very knowledgeable, very good guy. I learned a lot from Kenny and worked for him for a couple years while I was in the Coast Guard. And he said, well, what are you going to do when you get out? Or are you going to stay in the Coast Guard? I said, no, I'm going to get out and I guess I'll go back to dairy farming. He said, well, what about turf grass management? I said, well, tell me about it. He said, well, Penn State has a program. And I said, well, that's where the problem is, me and school. So I looked into it, and sure enough, it was a good setup, and I felt comfortable doing it. So I applied, I got accepted, and I went to school on a GI Bill. So it was a win-win situation.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit about your time at Penn State and the experience you had there and some of the people that influenced you and mentored you when you were there.
Oh, I really had a good time. I was excited about going to Penn State from Kenny Thompson, Richie Valentine. Talked big about Penn State and the legacy of the program there. When I went up there, I had Dr. Deutsch, Dr. Waddington, Dr. Watchke. They were all real influential, great educators. Learned a tremendous amount from them. Pat Sanders was a tremendous plant pathologist up there. One guy in particular up there, George Hamilton. The turf industry lost a wonderful, he would have been a great influence in this industry, but cancer got him way too early. And George was a huge influence on my life. Mm-hmm. He was a great guy.
And you have always been a lover of the outdoors. You love hunting, you love fishing, you love all the above, right?
Absolutely. So
turkeys, deer.
I love it all. Fishing, hunting, it's part of me. Being on the golf course, it's just, I think a lot of superintendents, it just goes hand in hand with loving outdoors.
It does. Yep, it's part of it.
It really does.
It's one of the most rewarding things about the job. What else do you like to do in your time off other than fishing, boating, and hunting? I
built a nice shop in my backyard. I've always been really intrigued at mechanics. Mm-hmm. A guy that can take apart just a one-cylinder Briggs & Stratton and put it back together and make it run, do the valves. I'd like to tinker around with that. And woodworking. I've always been a little bit of a wood novice. I'd like to ramp up a little bit of doing some wood projects. Mm-hmm. Starting off with simple stuff with tables and just some joinery and stuff like that. Yeah. Woodworking. My favorite place to eat in Pawleys Island, I really like, of course, Frank's is good. Go to Frank's. And there's a wonderful Mexican restaurant, Habaneros.
And then worked on golf courses in Pennsylvania until '99.
Then I moved down to answer to ad. Tried to get an assistant's job or a superintendent's job. I joined the association in '98, the Carolinas Association.
Yep.
I got on the mailing list, and being from out of state, I couldn't get my foot in the door with an assistant's job. So I answered an ad for a spray tech at Litchfield Country Club, Willbrook, and the River Club.
Yep.
Jim Neely, a man by the name of Jim Neely hired me.
Yep.
And that was at Litchfield, and I've been here ever since. I was here at Litchfield from 2000 to 2010, and then from 10 to 17 I went to Pawleys Plantation, and then I came back over here in 2017 when Digger retired.
Yep.
I took Digger's spot being the superintendent of River Club and Litchfield. The age of that golf course, we're getting into the point where some of the bulkheads, some are that 25 year age, starting to deteriorate, treated lumber. Some of the piping is getting to that age. It's getting there.
The hydraulic irrigation can be finicky at times.
Finicky at best. Yeah, hydraulic irrigation is a challenge.
Yep. And that golf course is actually on its either third or fourth set of greens. It had bent grass for many years, but now it's been switched to Champion, Ultra Dwarf Bermuda.
That's right. It started off Bermuda, then it went to Champion. Yep. Or it started off at Bermuda, and then it switched over to bent grass, and now it's back to the Champion. So it's been done 3 times.
Yep. And you know, Dan, you've always been a person that been active in associations. I didn't even realize that you joined the Carolinas before you even moved down here.
Well, I wanted to move. We were in Pennsylvania, so she was getting the bug to move south, and I was down here in Morehead City for a couple years, and I really liked it down here. So so we made the move. You know, everybody take your turn and do your best, and you're doing it with your peers or doing it for your peers, however you look at it, but you're really doing it for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything particularly rewarding to you about being a superintendent? You've obviously done it a long time and have a lot of years, and I mean, what motivates you today to continue to get up in the morning and get out there and do it?
Well, the handful of days a year that when it all comes together and it's all just good. I mean, the greens are good, the sky is right, the moisture's right, the crew, the bunkers are edged. Not only just the man-made things that we can control of, but when Mother Nature lets it be right simultaneously, it just gives me such a feeling of satisfaction that you just can't really get anywhere else.